Hi everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Amarachi and I'm a grad student in the US. On this channel, I share useful tips about moving to the US as well as documenting my grad school journey. So if this is something you've been interested in, please consider subscribing. Today's video is going to be about what to do when you first arrive in the US, so like how to settle down, all of the important things that you need to do. I'll be going over things like finding an apartment, opening a bank account, getting a SIM card, getting a social security number and things like that. The first thing is how to find an apartment. So finding an apartment is typically not very difficult, and it's also something that you can actually do before you arrive. It might be a little bit more difficult, and it's typically easier and faster to find one when you get here. But if it's something if finding an apartment before you arrive is something you want to do, you could also explore the options. So the easiest ways to find apartments are on apartment listing websites like apartments.com, Zillow, Trulia. I'm going to leave the links to this website in the description box, so you can use these three websites. You could also use Facebook groups. So Facebook groups are very popular and very common. You can use Facebook groups for your city or for your university. So for example, if a person studies say in Boston and goes to Boston University, just check on Facebook for a group. It would be named something like Boston University off-campus housing or something like that. You don't have to know the exact words or exact name of the Facebook group. If you just like put like the name of the city, the name of your university, and put like apartment or roommate, something like that, Facebook is going to bring up the public groups that you can join, and you can find like apartments on this place. You're going to see people listing apartments. You might also find people looking for roommates. So this is a way to find an apartment. You could also use university housing websites if your university has one. I know that people in the Boston area, if you're watching this video and you happen to be coming to a school that's in the Boston area, check and see if your university is one of the partner universities. I know many schools in this area have this off-campus housing website where students can create a profile. You can like talk about yourself, what you study, what like your affiliation and all of that. So like, are you an undergrad, grad student, postdoc, things like this. You can also make your selections for the kind of roommates that you're looking for. Just select all that you want, and when you've set up this profile, you can see other people's profiles. You can contact them. You can also see like apartments listed on this website. I tend to like lean more towards the university housing website because I feel like they're a little bit more trustworthy than just regular apartment hunting sites. So if you're in the Boston area, check this out. I don't know if schools in other areas have this, but yeah, I know that the Boston area has this, and like a lot of universities are a part of this like big group. So even if you go to say like Northeastern, you can see profiles of people who go to like Boston University or Boston College or other schools in the area. People go to Harvard and things like that. So you can pair up with somebody who doesn't necessarily go to your school, but someone who lives in the area. You could just find an apartment together with that person. You could also use Craigslist. I would say this is my least favorite option because Craigslist is just generally a sketchy website. So be very, 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 very careful if things get to at the worst case scenario and you have to use Craigslist. Just be very careful about that. Something to keep in mind about apartments is that most places will require you to pay at least a security deposit, which in most cases comes to like 1 month's worth of rent. So if you find a place and say your rent is like $700, for the first time you're probably not going to pay only $700. You're probably going to be paying like $1,400 or $1,400 for 2 months worth of rent, because you're paying your first month's rent and then you're paying your security deposit. If you live in other areas that are a little bit crazy like the Boston area, you'll be paying even more than that. You pay your first month's rent, last month's rent, your deposit. If you use an agent, sometimes they'll also charge an agency fee. So just keep all of that in mind. And when you're reading through listings on the different websites, just look at the things that you have to pay upfront and keep all of that in mind. If you decide to start apartment hunting before you get here, keep in mind that you can request to do a virtual tour. So you shouldn't actually just pay for an apartment without seeing it. Definitely request a virtual tour. You know, since 2020, since the pandemic happened, a lot of things have changed, and now people are like offering virtual tours and things like this. So that's something that you definitely can do. Personally, for me, I found my apartment online, and I actually found mine back in Nigeria. I paid for it back in Nigeria. So when I got here, I already had a place and I just moved into it. So I used my university's housing platform thing. I created a profile, and then I started contacting different people who I felt like, from their preferences for roommates, I felt like would have, you know, a good interaction, more or less. So I contacted a couple of people. Some people didn't respond, some people responded, and I was just like, But then I finally found someone, and I was like, oh, I think this is good. I contacted her. We like started texting back and forth. We're emailing back and forth, exchanged phone numbers, and then we had a Zoom call to just be sure that, you know, we're kind of on the same page. So we agreed to pair up as roommates, and then we started looking for a place. We checked like the housing website again to see different listings, and we checked like the Facebook groups, apartments.com. Eventually I found my place on apartments.com. But yeah, this is definitely something that you can do. And like I said, I paid even before moving here. Like, I sent in my deposit. I didn't pay my first month rent. I sent in my deposit before coming here, because to get the lease and to sign the lease, to actually lock the place down, you need to at least pay your deposit. So I paid that. I sent that to my roommate, and she paid for that. And yeah, that's how I found my place. Okay, the next thing to do when you get here, if you're a student, is go straight to your school. Go and report at the like International Students Center or International Students Office or something like that. Sure, go there, tell them that you have come, you've arrived. You need to do this because they need to activate your service record to show that you've entered the country and you're going to start your studies soon. So please do this. It's very important. Like, if you arrive today and tomorrow is a weekday, please go the next day and get this done. So after that, get your student ID, because your student ID is going to allow you access to like places in your university. It's also going to allow you to get discounts on things like maybe a transportation pass if your city has one. Like if it has a discounted one, you get this. Any kind of student discounts would require your student ID. Something I forgot to mention is when you're going to like your international student office, please, of course, go with all your documents, go with your passport, go with your I-20, go with these things. Also, if you're going to be like a graduate assistant, so a research assistant or a teaching assistant, please go check in with the person that you'll be working with, like the professor, whoever it is. Just let them know that you've come. You probably would need to sign like a contract, so you know, talk to them, sign all of this. This is very important because if you're a graduate assistant, you're going to get paid, but that money is not going to just magically appear. No, you need to do a couple of things to get paid, and then the sooner you start it, you know, the sooner your money can come through. So don't joke with it. The third thing is getting a bank account. So this is relatively simple as well. When you first arrive and you have to go to, when you want to open a bank account, go with your passport, go with your I-20. Basically, I'd say the first 2 weeks, you probably need to be carrying your passports everywhere you're going, like passport and I-20, because you're going to do a lot of admin stuff that would require this, but please keep it safe so you don't lose it. Anyway, to open a bank account, that's relatively easy. These days, thanks to the pandemic, most banks probably require you to have an appointment. So just call and find out, oh, you don't have a SIM card. Actually, no, you can just walk into the bank, and if they can attend to you that day, they will. If they can't, they'll give you an appointment. So you can open a bank account with like the bigger banks, Bank of America, Chase, all the others. Just ask around. But the one thing to keep in mind, especially with these big banks, is that if you're 25 and below, you should be fine. But if you're above 25, please ask carefully, because some of these bank accounts require a minimum monthly like balance on your account. If you don't have this, you might be charged an account like maintenance fee. It could range anywhere from like $7 to maybe $15, which adds up, you know, at the end of the day, adds up. So just ask about this, especially if you're older than 25. You can also open banks with like regional banks in your area. Some university campuses have banks on them, which most students tend to use. You could just open one with that kind of bank. Like, you just need one bank account at the moment and you should be fine. All right, the next thing is getting a SIM card. The more popular like cell service providers like T-Mobile, Verizon, and whichever other ones that they have tend to be on the more expensive side. Like they're more affordable if you're like on a family plan. So if you had family members and you joined their plan, then it will be fine. But if you're paying for that like just out of pocket, it's a little bit more expensive. I would say maybe don't go for those. I personally use Mint Mobile. I'll put the link in the description box. I like Mint. It's affordable. If you get the 3-month plan, it comes down to like $25 a month, I believe. But yeah, you could use like smaller networks, Mint, Sprint, Ultra Mobile, all of these. But when you go on these, like if you decide to use one of the smaller networks, please check their website, put your zip code to be sure, check the network availability in your area, because some of these companies, smaller companies, might not have great coverage across the country. So just be sure that your area, or like areas that you frequently visit, have good coverage. If they do, then you should be fine. Talking about SIM cards, something else that is very important is your phone compatibility. So even the thing is, most Android devices that are popular in Nigeria are not really compatible with American SIM cards. So Tecno, Infinix, Itel, what's the other one? Oppo. All these phones, Android phones, might not be compatible. I know Huawei works fine-ish. Samsung works fine. iPhones work perfectly fine as well. So the thing I would say about this is, even before you leave Nigeria, please go on the website of whatever service provider you feel will be your preferred one and check to see if your phone is compatible with their SIM card. It's very easy. If you just look around on the website, you'd find it. Or just Google, like, I don't know, if you decide to use Mint, Google like Mint phone compatibility or something like that. It will pop up. You put in the specifications for your phone, they'll let you know if it's compatible or not. But just keep in mind that most popular Android devices that people use in Nigeria are not compatible with US SIM. So you might need to either like just do a giveaway, give that phone to some your family member, and you buy a new one when you come here. But or you could also just come with the phone. Because it's not compatible with SIM doesn't mean that Wi-Fi would not work. So if you really need something, you definitely need something to communicate with. You can come with the phone. If you can't afford to buy a new one from Nigeria, come with what you have. You're going to just use the Wi-Fi option. You're not going to have a SIM card, I suppose. But yeah, if you can afford to buy a new phone before coming, maybe do that. Honestly, I don't even know if that's the best idea. I didn't buy a new phone, but then my old phone was also compatible with US SIMs. I don't really know what the best way to go about this is. Because if you end up coming here with that phone that the SIM isn't compatible, you can only use Wi-Fi. You would have a SIM card, but you won't have a phone number because you won't be able to use it. So I don't know if I would say like leave that phone back home and then get a new phone when you get here. I really don't know. That's up to you. Figure that out for yourself. But the point of this is make sure that your phone is compatible with the SIM cards or the service provider that you plan to go with. The next thing is transportation. So if you live in a big city being like New York, Boston, or like Chicago, or if you live in a place, I don't know if any other places have transportation passes, but if you live in a place that has like transportation passes, get one. There probably would be some sort of discount for students. Now that you have your student ID, you can probably get that discount. If there's none, just get a regular like transportation pass, because you need this to be going around. When you first come here, you probably won't have a car, so get a transportation pass. Okay, let's go back to your apartment. Supposing that you've now found an apartment, it's going to be empty and you need to furnish it. You need a bed, dresser, everything that you need in an apartment. You're going to get the big appliances. So you're going to have like a cooker in your kitchen, a cooker, microwave, fridge and freezer. You might have a washer and dryer in your apartment. If you have one, lucky you. You might have that. But every other thing, say like your living room or your bedroom, it's going to be empty, completely empty. And there are ways to furnish your apartment for cheap or like affordable, on the more affordable side. There are websites like OfferUp. I'm going to link OfferUp in the description. You can use OfferUp. On OfferUp, you're going to find affordable things. Sometimes you might even find stuff for free, and you're wondering like, stuff for free? Yes, sometimes people have to move and they just don't want to bother moving large pieces of furniture and they just give it away for free. You would have to arrange pickup for that, or sometimes they might deliver it to you for a fee. So check out OfferUp. You could also use Facebook Marketplace. Facebook Marketplace is so good. Go on there, check for what you want. For me, I basically furnished my entire room for $400. So I got my mattress, my box frame, my bed frame, a rug, bedside table, dresser, lamp, a table with a shelf, and like a study table or study desk with a shelf. Yeah, I think basically I got all of these items for $400, which is a steal, because if you go on, say, Amazon or Wayfair or Home Depot, websites like this, only your bed frame will probably be like $250. Then buying a mattress, that might be like an extra $150. Buying like a table, a dresser, all these things, new things are very expensive. So you know, relatively compared to new things, I definitely got a steal. $400 for getting all of the basic things that I needed when I first got here. So definitely check out Facebook Marketplace. Again, on Facebook Marketplace, you might also be able to find stuff for free or just stuff like for like dead cheap prices. Something else that you could do is actually find free stuff on the road. Generally in the summer months, people's leases are expiring, people are moving out of their apartments. You just see things. So if you go on the side of the road and you see things just lying around, it's probably free for pickup. Sometimes people are actually also going to label it saying like free stuff or free to take. You can take that. Actually, this chair that I'm sitting on, I got it for free on the street. So yeah, you can get really good stuff for free from the streets. Don't sleep on that. If you live in a town or go to a university that has like a pantry, there are things called pantries or like campus restaurant, where basically you get things for free. You can get all kinds of things, clothes, home appliances, things like this. Definitely check those out if you have that. Just ask questions, really ask questions. When you first move here, you're not going to know a lot of things. Ask questions. You know, there's an Igbo adage that says only ajuju fools, or like person who asks questions doesn't get missing. So ask questions, please. Somewhere else that you can go to get stuff for your apartment is the dollar store. Dollar Tree or whatever version of that is available in your city. Usually this is a good place to get like bits and bobs like plates, cups, cutlery, you know, small kitchen equipment, things like this. There's no point, I don't think it's necessary to go to like Target and Walmart, because these things are going to be more expensive there. Like, yeah, maybe Dollar Tree might not have the exact same quality like you'll find in Target, but if you're just looking for practicality, things that will get the job done, definitely check out Dollar Tree. Like, basically everything in that store is $1. I mean, I don't know if it's still $1 now thanks to inflation, but usually it's on the cheaper side, so you can go there to find stuff. You can also go to TJ Maxx or Home Goods. I love this store. Here you can find pots and pans, like very good quality pots and pans for affordable prices. You can also find other like bits and bobs for your home. If you're trying to, you know, decorate and be a little bit more fancy, you can find the things that you need in TJ Maxx or in Home Goods. The next thing we're going to talk about is getting a social security number. Not everybody just gets, not like every international student just gets a social security number, but if you have a job, so if you work on campus either as a graduate assistant, or even if you just have like a regular on-campus job, like you could be working like in the dining or whatever on-campus job you have, you can get a social security number with this, and I think you should actually get one. The documents that you need to apply for a social security number is a proof of employment signed by whoever your employer is, your immigration documents, so your passport, your I-20 and I-94. It's just a record of like your immigration, so how many times you've entered and left the country, things like this. Just Google I-94 and you see the website, you see how to get that. You need that. Yeah, you need this, and then you can make an appointment at the Social Security office. You can call their number, they'll give you an appointment, or you could also just go and, you know, you could just walk in. I think now most places are relaxing their rules, and most of these places are starting to do walk-in services again. But if you're like me and you don't like to just waste your time and go somewhere, just call them in advance, ask if you can just walk in, or you need to get an appointment. Oh, something else, you need to of course fill the Social Security social security number application form. Just go with all these documents and apply. You should get your social security number in the mail in about like 7 days. So yeah, do this. You could also check your university's international student center's website for more details about how to go about like getting a social security number. Usually the website would also have would have social security offices around the area that students can go to for this, so you don't have to go too far away when you do this application. Now that all of the like main basic things that you need for settling in are done, 3 other things that I think are nice to have are: 1, a state ID card. Now a state ID is good because it's another form of ID that you have, that it's a government issued ID that you have that would prove your age. So you don't have to carry your passport around. If you lose your state ID, it's not the end of the world, but if you lose your passport, problem, especially if you're Nigerian. I've been trying to renew my passport for over 5 months now. I'm still waiting for it. You definitely do not want to lose your passport. So yeah, get a state ID. I cannot tell you the exact details on how to go about that because it varies from state to state. So go on the government's website. Again, use the internet. You could just Google like how to get a state ID in Texas. If you're in Texas, you're going to find the website that will take you step by step through the application process. It's also an affordable one. Usually it doesn't cost too much. You fill it out, make your appointment, get a state ID. This is important. Apart from like preventing you from carrying your passport everywhere, the US is quite strict with alcohol. So like if you party a lot, you go to clubs, go to parties and things like this, they'll need to ID you before going into these places. Or if you like, sometimes even if you go to certain restaurants and you order alcohol, it's happened once or twice to me, they would ask for your ID. But definitely if you go to like buy drinks from the liquor store, nobody's selling you any alcohol without your ID. So they'll ask for this, and this is just an alternative ID that you can use instead of carrying your passport everywhere. The next thing is a credit card, or like starting to build your credit history and your credit score. I'm not going to go into details on that here because I have an entire video on the whole credit card system, all the details about that, which I would link here and also in the description box, so just check that video out. And the final thing is a driver's license. A driver's license also serves as an alternative means of ID, or if you live in a state where a car is an absolute necessity, which would be most states in the US, you definitely need a driver's license. Usually this would involve 2 parts: doing an online learner's permit test. So you're going to read like a book that teaches you the laws of the road and things like this, and you have to do an online written test. After you do that, you get a learner's permit, and then you have to do your road test to actually get your driver's license. But yeah, to get a driver's license, if that's something you're interested in, it would definitely come in handy at some point. And that's it for today's video. I think I covered all of the things that you need to, kind of get your life started when you first move here. If you have a question on something that I mentioned, please feel free to leave it in the comment section. Also leave a comment telling me what you found the most useful and the most helpful in this video. Please give this video a like if you liked it. Consider subscribing if you're not subscribed already. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.